They say that your house is not your asset, it is your liability. Today on My.na Property, FNB chats to us about the importance of house financing. My name is My.na and this is My.na Property.
Welcome to My.na Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.na Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Here are the news making headlines in the land of property. National Housing Enterprise has handed over 33 houses at Tsandi in Omsati region. Speaking at the event, NHE Board Chairperson Tsoka Sem called on local authorities to avail affordable land to NHE at reasonable prices as they will reap the benefits of the development through the payment of rates and taxes for generations to come. In our next story, the governor of Erongo region, Neville Andre, said that housing is the most intimate setting for every Namibian family and potentially its a valuable asset. The delivery of urban land and housing is an urgent undertaking that involves overlapping stakeholders, markets and legal systems for accessing land, finance services like water, electricity and eventual construction. Andre said during his State of Region address on Monday at the Swakopmund Municipality Chamber. According to Andre, the Namibian government has heard the plea of the people through effectively solving the dispute on the mass housing project. This matter has been a concern of my office and equally to the central government. Hence, government leaders visited the project to assess its status, and I am therefore pleased that the issue has been resolved. Moving over to our next story, about 770 airmen at Oshakati's on Nawa Extension 7 and 8 will be electrified, putting an end to dark days for the town's resident. The project will cost about 11.5 million Namibian dollars. Urban and Rural Development Minister Erastus Utoni, who officiated the groundbreaking of this electrification project, said it is a clear sign that Namibia is moving into the status of complete need-based infrastructure development for the Oshakati and the country at large. Utoni applauded the Oshakati Premier Electric for living up to the expectations of central government priorities to supplying electricity to the underserviced communities. Now, the envisaged project will make a positive impact on the livelihoods of a section of our people who reside in this part of Oshakati. He said, Utoni said the journey to electrify these areas started in 2016, whereby OPE conducted a research that was aimed at identifying households in informal areas who had access to a grid but not yet connected. We will be right back with more property. Stay with us.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Now, I am joined in studio today by Mrs. Rozina Jacobs from FNB, and she's the National Sales Manager for Home Loans and Secured Lending. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking.
Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking everything that we need to know before we buy a house.
Yes.
All right, starting us off.
And I'm the right person to talk to.
You are the right person to
Yeah.
talk to. You will give us all the details
tips,
that we
yeah.
need to know. You won't leave anything out.
No, I'll give you what you need to know.
I'm great. I'm grateful to hear that. All right, so how does a first-time home buyer go about securing a home loan?
Obviously, you must have an income. Yeah. You must have a plan. You must have a dream of where you see yourself in years to come. When you are ready to buy, you approach us as FNB. We can do a pre-approval on you, and a pre-approval is what you are good to go for at that point in your life. It's a financial assessment of you as an individual. If you are married, if it's a joint bond, then both you and your partner. We look at you financially, we assess you financially, and that helps you to at least look around is based on what your assessment has been with FNB.
I see, just so that, you know, everyone, of course, dreams of owning a really huge house in a really affluent suburb,
Yes.
but once the assessment has been done, then you at least know where you stand, right?
And you at least know where to look for, in what categories to look for.
What you can
Yeah, and
afford.
what you can afford. That's very important.
Yes. All right, so how much collateral or deposit or down payment do you need?
We call them the loan-to-value regulations. It's governed by the Bank of Namibia. If you buy your first property, you can be financed up to 100%. But your second property and all subsequent properties will be 20%. The second property will be 10% deposit. Any subsequent property will be 20% deposit.
I see.
And it's a regulation by the central bank.
Okay, so what are the repayment methods and the repayment periods?
The repayments are normally based on your credit assessment, based on your age, based on especially your age to retirement. We look at that and say if you are, for instance, 24 years old, you are interested and you are good to go to buy a property, we can look at your age to retirement.
Okay.
Yeah. The policy is quite clear on we can look at maximum 360 years, but based on your profile.
Strictly based on your profile.
Yeah, based on your profile. We don't have a generic approach to each and every customer who comes in for a home loan. Yeah.
It's all based on a certain individual. It's all personalized. Yeah. All right. So, how are the interest rates calculated, and can the buyer negotiate better terms?
We have been hearing about repo rates increases.
Definitely.
We are all feeling it.
Yes.
Yeah. And the repo rate is determined by Bank of Namibia, and we as banks borrow money from Bank of Namibia against that repo rate, and then we do our own margins, do our calculations to determine what will be profitable for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that was actually going to be my next question, but before we actually get into that question, we know insurance is important. We know you definitely have to insure practically everything that is of value to you. But please explain to us in detail why it is important.
Before a bond registers, you are good to go for the house that you are interested in. It went through the whole process of being registered, but before it gets to registration, there is a requirement that there must be a life cover ceded to the bank. Why is seeding life cover important? In the event of me not being around anymore, moving to the next phase in our lives, my loved ones that remain behind, we wouldn't want them to leave. We wouldn't want to leave them with unnecessary debt that we could have prevented.
Of course.
So seeding the life cover to FNB, we would then, in that event, make sure that the balance that's outstanding is paid off.
Oh,
so that your loved ones are not
you take that burden off
away
of them.
from them. Yeah,
definitely.
And that's the one type of life cover, which is for when you are no more. We also require homeowners insurance, which is a short-term insurance. You know, life cover is a long-term insurance.
Yes.
Homeowners insurance is to provide for the replacement value of your house. If there was some fire outbreak in your
floods,
and your house got destructed, provision is made through the homeowner's insurance that your house can be replaced.
Okay.
And when you sign, when we provide you with a final document, you will see in that document what the homeowner's insurance value will be at that time, and it's based normally on the market value of the property.
Of course. All right. So, like we briefly touched on repo rate hikes, we're constantly seeing, you know, it's being announced in the newspaper almost every other week that there's been a repo rate increase and all of that. Would you say home ownership is still a good investment in the current economic situation?
I think it depends. It's an individual decision.
Yes, definitely.
Ultimately, all of us need a roof over our heads. Not all of us can afford cash buying. Therefore, we have institutions like the FNB to facilitate that process. I want to repeat, we will do a credit assessment on you to determine what we will be willing to finance for that roof over your head.
And it's important, like you did say, to have a roof over your head, to have some sort of security. Definitely. So in your view, is it better to build or buy an existing property?
Again, it's an individual decision. If you were to have your own finishes, your own touches in the house, and you want to be the first one to move into your house, then you would be looking at the building option. But they both have advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of an existing house is the minute it registers, you move in. Sometimes even before it registers, then you sign an occupational rental agreement with the seller. So it's totally up to you what your budget allows, both in terms of capital being available and time. Obviously, building will take longer than buying an existing house.
And of course, if you are building, you're going to need to put everything, you're going to need to have all these measurements in place to ensure that your house is safely built, it's well built, you use the proper materials and all of that. So like you said, it is an individual, decision. But I think, you know, buying an existing property in my terms would still be much better, because you wouldn't want to then take on this loan that you can't pay back. You still need to do something that you can afford so that you don't have a major loan.
It will we do credit assess you even for a building loan.
Okay.
So what we approve, what we would approve you for would be what you can qualify for.
Oh, I see.
You just need to determine, are you willing to wait long or do you want to move in at point of registration? Because the minute you do a building loan is we register, when you buy the plot, we register the vacant plot, and then the building must start.
I see. That sounds like a whole major complicated process.
It's not really complicated. It's involved. You need to be present and take longer to be able to have roof over your head.
Oh, I see. I see.
Not everybody can afford to pay to start repaying a loan and rent at the same time.
True.
So those are all the factors that we normally advise customers to consider. Take a look at here.
All right. And so finally, what additional home loan products does FNB offer?
Okay. We offer a number of products under home loans. Number one is obviously your first bond, not your firstborn. Your first bond, if you are a first-time buyer.
Yes.
I did talk about pre-approval upfront bond earlier. If you are not sure yet what you are good to go for, you can apply for an upfront bond, and we assess you financially, and you then decide whether you want to go. Do you have a plot somewhere that you identified, or you have an existing property somewhere that you have identified, and then we do the actual application. We also offer what we call re-advance. Re-advance is for those customers who already have home loans with us and have been paying for a while. The difference between the original bond amount and the balance currently would be the customer would have access to as re-advance. We give building loans. We spoke about building loans. We give further loans. Further loan is when you already have a loan and you want to take a second loan on the current property, i.e. for renovations and many other beautiful things you want to do
to your house, to add, like you said, your own touch.
Yeah, your own touch. Yes.
All right. right, thank you so much, Mrs. Rozina, for telling me everything that I need to know, you know, because I am young, I would want to buy a house, so it's good to have all this information on hand.
Yeah.
And it's been an honor having you in studio today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
All right, stick around. We will be back with more My.na properties right after this break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Today on My.na property, My.na the queen of property culture. I'm coming to you live and direct from Nictus Giga, and I'm sitting at this fantastic dining table with Delano, who is a salesperson. How are you feeling?
Hey, Aina, I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You know, my favorite room in any house is the dining table, is the dining room rather, because good place to be, because my love language is food. You know, I love that.
Yes.
What do you love the most about, you know, dining areas?
You know, the one thing I like about dining areas is that one area in the room where you can really go all out.
Yes.
You know, like when you're talking about like a lounge suite, you have to think practical about it. But with the dining area, you can really go all out with it. You can have the best table, you can have the best chairs, really make a full aesthetic for the room itself.
Now
So,
that
yeah.
you are talking about aesthetics, let's talk about the style that is popular right now. What are people looking for? What is that aesthetically pleasing style that everyone wants to have in their houses?
Yeah, and so currently at the moment in our store, and just with us also monitoring how the sales are going, the glass top tabletop dining suites are hot at the moment. It takes up like 80% of our dining suites that we have here. And it's hot because it really gives you that modern feel into your home without having to change too much. A lot of people are kind of scared because it's glass.
Yeah,
you know, not a lot of people have a lot of good experiences with glass, but it does really make your room stand out. And especially within seeing, Nictus recognizes that we are catering to an African market.
Yes.
We're catering to African people who really love to bring the outside in.
Yeah,
so you will
love that.
always see some hint of wood, either in the legs of the table or in the legs of the chairs itself. But we always try to cater for every single person that's coming in there.
And your favorite style, what do you have at home?
For me personally, I'm a wholesome soul, so I like a little bit of more wood into it. So at home we also do really have a really wood set. I'm not opposed to the glass top, but I really like a more organic feel within the home.
I'll tell you something for free. I can't have glass because I'm that clumsy. Now we move over to our next question. You can choose, when it comes to chairs, can you choose alternatives to what the dining table comes with?
That's a great question. A lot of people actually ask that, I know. The thing about with Nictus, we recognize that we try to cater to as many clients as we can, like I said previously. So we recognize that maybe you already have a really good looking table.
Yeah.
You just need chairs.
Yes.
Or you have stunning chairs, but you just really need a good table. So we do have sets where you can split them up. But other sets, like a lot of our import sets as well, we have really good looking sets that we would like to keep them together, just because if it's not broken, why fix it?
Yeah, true. All right, now that we are on this narrative of if it's not broken, why fix it? Tell me something. If then a client wants specifics that Nictus is not offering, are you able to customize?
It really depends on the kind of design. and the supplier. So we do have really good suppliers that we have been partnering with over the years, and they really have a good selection of items that can be custom made, but on some items not. So it really depends on what you're looking for, but I'm sure that you can find what you're looking for on us for.
All right, and what in your opinion is a perfect dining chair?
So that's a really good question again. So a lot of the misconception is that you need a really good base for your chair, like what you sit on, like the seat needs to be really good. But I actually argue that you need a really good back piece.
Yes.
Because after you've had that mouth-watering, delicious meal and you want to recline back in the chair, you don't want to recline back into something that can't support your back. So I'm saying more of the longer, the higher back chairs are the ones that, in my opinion, is the perfect dining chair.
And I love that theory, because now that I'm thinking about it, oftentimes when I do have a meal, I actually just want to lean back and relax and be on my phone. Now that you know, we are still talking about dining chairs and dining tables. Tell me something, does Nictus also offer cutlery? Because I see we have cutlery pieces here.
We actually have, it's a common misconception that people think that Nictus only has certain things. We really want to, in Nictus, one of our values is to make this a one-stop shop. So we have an entire kitchen area that has glass, that has cutlery, that has even like your plates and so. So we have a whole section dedicated for that, and I would actually recommend you have a look at it after this.
We are right here at the cookware, serveware and drinkware department right here in Nictus Giga. Speaking of drinkware, it's very cold. We are in winter and people are drinking tea, people are drinking soup. What mugs do you guys have on offer right now that, you know, can come in handy with the season?
So that's a good question, Aina. So currently, right now in the store, we have a wide range of coffee mugs for you. So we have the normal traditional ceramic porcelain coffee mugs that we have, but we also have see-through coffee mugs, which also seems to be a really hot seller at the moment. So that's good. The see-through coffee mugs can really make your kitchen stand out from someone else's home.
Love that. While we are talking about the kitchen, you know, I've noticed that in some families, some people prefer not having their meals at the dining table, while others show up and eat as a family together at the table. What's your take on that? Why do you think that is?
Well, I believe that food really binds people together. Food has this really special thing, and especially it's also appreciated within African cultures as well, to really bring people together. And I think having everyone together at one dining room would be a really good thing. Just so not only to share the meal together, but to share the moments of the day together, to share the moments of stress, the moments of joy, to really just celebrate a family together.
Speaking of family and, you know, sharing moments and celebration, it's wedding season. People are getting married. What do you prescribe for newlyweds in terms of cutlery?
So the really common issue, or not common issue, frustration for a lot of new couples is that they have to start with a new home. So they have to build their home together. And sometimes a lot of couples don't have a big budget. So yeah, at Nictus we do cater for that. We have a lot of combo sets within our cutlery and even with our drinkware, where you can buy a whole set together to really just fill up your cupboards even more as you're filling up the house with love.
I love that. Cheers to new opportunities, new beginnings.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Good afternoon, I'm lying. Good evening. Good evening, Risa.
Good evening, Lamri.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you back.
It's good to be here, as always. We say the same thing every week to each other.
Yeah,
always good to see you.
Risa, the question that I want to ask this week, because I want to know the answer, and I believe the viewers also want to know the answer. What does it mean when people are referring to a seller's market or a purchaser's market, and when is best to buy or sell?
Oh, well, That's a very interesting question, and obviously I might not be completely the expert on that. I think estate agents will maybe be able to tell you better, but if we're referring to a seller's market, then it's obviously the time of the year or in a period where it's best for the seller, where you will get the most proceeds. So it's in a time where, you know, the property market is saturated and there's very few properties on the market. Construction has been stalled for some time, so there's a big, you know, need for property and developments, and we went through several of ups and downs in our market. You know, some years the property market is very high valued and you will get the highest value because you're actually in a very competitive market as a seller. So that's when we refer to it as a seller's market, and that's obviously when it's best to sell your property. And then when it's a buyer's market, it's basically what we are in now. It's very, properties are being sold below valuation, and it's saturated with buildings, and people can, you know, compete for the best
and also,
offers.
especially during the COVID time.
Yes, something like a pandemic.
Absolutely, a purchase market.
Definitely. So if you are in a position that during tough times, actually, like when the rest of the economy is, you know, suffering a bit, then it's referred to as a purchaser's market. So then you are in, you know, the prime season. You get to choose your property and negotiate a bit and see if you can get it way under market value, because people are under pressure to sell their properties. So that's when it's best to buy the property. If you've got any financing, then save your money for when the rest of the country is suffering, then buy a property for a bargain.
Yeah, people tend to get scared and then they want to sell and they want to run.
Yes.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. You should hold on as long as possible, and not during every dip in the economy. It will pick up and it fluctuates. I mean, that is just how it works. So the same within every other sector is the same in the property sector. So yes, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and if you're a business person, you must be brave.
You must be brave. You
can't just run.
Take chances, and when everybody else is saving their money, then you must be
Everybody
spending.
else is running.
Yes.
And then you are purchasing.
Yes.
For a bargain price.
And you should bring the transfer to our office then.
To Wederkouter and Uweka. To Risa. Speak to
Laurie.
Risa Dreyer.
Yes.
Risa, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. I will see you again
And I'm looking
next week
forward
for
to
a
seeing
big
you.
question.
Yeah, next week.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We've come to the end of yet another fantastic episode of My.na Property. We will be back on your screen again next week, same time, same place. Please do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. You can also catch the show on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. As if that was not enough, we also have a website which is called One Up 2. On that note, it's all my love, all my light.